Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio here with you. Or at least Neal is. I'm still at my home. We are still snowed in here in Oxford, Mississippi. I think more snow falling right now. It's pretty light most of the day, but I think it's going to actually snow for several hours here on top of the ice or the wintry mix or whatever you want to call it that has been coming down the last couple days here in the North Mississippi, Northwest Mississippi, Southern Tennessee, Mid-South area. I guess we'll go with that. We'll go with Mid-South. So anyway, some news going on. We'll talk about that coming up on the show, as well as some other topics that we've kind of had to pull out a little bit. There's not a ton of news going on right now in the middle of this week as everything's pretty shut down, but we've got stuff for you for the next hour or a little more here with you on this stream, on this podcast. The podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Download the Speed Pass Plus app, use it, get to know it, because when you do, you earn points. And when you earn points, you save money there with the Oxford Exxon and all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. Also, if you're hungry, stop on in, use the hot case for some barbecue, some chicken, some side items, and more. Or the lunch special that's $5.69 for two sides of bread, 32-ounce drink every single day at the Oxford Exxon. Again, Neal, I can see him. He's in the Clark Ford studio.
I am. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. 662-257-1900. Guests join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. I did a podcast earlier today. You'll hear it the next day or so with Tommy Prater, an hour and 15 minutes on NASCAR and Dale Earnhardt, the 20th anniversary and all that stuff. It's a pretty fascinating conversation with a really entertaining guy. He joined me on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. I know they opened at 3 yesterday. I don't know what their schedule is today. My suggestion in town is just get in touch with people if you're interested in trying to get out, because, hell, I don't know. I watched a video of people trying to get up Industrial Road. They were mostly unsuccessful in their endeavors. It is very icy in Oxford, but next time you can get out when you're in town, head over to Rafters, enjoy their burgers, their po' boys, appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, the whole deal. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and also in New Albany.
Yeah, I'd gotten out a couple hours ago, tried to, I don't know, walk, run, something. I just wanted out of the house for a little while, get out in the weather, and I was coming back into the neighborhood, and right at the beginning of the neighborhood, it's a pretty steep hill back up into kind of the loops or whatever, and some guy came in behind me, and I guess he was in it looked like an undercover police car, like a Impala or something like that. And dude had no prayer of getting up that hill. I mean, he was fishtailing and falling back down the hill and trying to get up and fishtailing. I went, no, there's no chance. You're in a two-wheel drive vehicle that has no possibility whatsoever of getting up that hill right now. It's not doable.
Yeah, I was watching that video of Nissan Sentras and stuff trying to get up the hill on Industrial. So what are you doing? I mean, you have no shot. I mean, I guess they were trying to get to work. And then what's funny, and I'm not picking, it's just those guys drive like bats out of hell on Industrial Road, and they turn around to realize they're not going to make it, and they turn around and they just gun it back the other way, and the truck's doing this, swerving all over. You're like, hey, man, come on. It's not going to happen. It is nothing but – in the places that haven't been cleared, it's just ice. Just ice.
Yeah, I don't see any road anywhere in my neighborhood at all. It's all still white. I mean, even where you can tell there's been some tires go through or some traction, it still is no road can be seen. There is no asphalt. It's all white. So
what's weird is I'm looking at the weather app on the Weather Channel, and they've got 100% chance of snow this afternoon. And like I pull up the radar, and the radar makes it look like it's really snowing, and I look outside, and it's not doing anything.
I think we're just getting flurries for hours, because even on my little radar thing, it's very light blue, indicating very mild precipitation, only a little bit of green even, and like no yellow.
What does the pink mean? Pink is ice, right?
Yeah, I mean, pink is like snow, ice, mix, that kind of thing.
We've got that coming at like 4 o'clock for several hours.
The question is, how hard is it coming down?
If the radar's right. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like, we've got all night of some precipitation. And the temperatures tomorrow are tomorrow the high is 30 with a chance of more snow. Not much, but a little bit. And then the low tomorrow night's 14. The low tonight's 24. Low tomorrow night's 14. It's Friday before it gets above freezing, and even then the high is just 34. So the SEC postponed. I think it's canceled, basically, all the basketball games for tomorrow.
Look, here's a pro tip when the SEC is doing these things. If they don't give you a date the game is being played, there probably is not a date the game is being played most of the time. Yeah, they canceled 3 men's games tomorrow night. That's LSU at Ole Miss, obviously the one that we'll talk about, Mississippi State at Auburn, and then Alabama at Texas A&M. Those are the 3 that I was impressed they got games in yesterday. Are there games scheduled for tonight? Are teams already on campuses for that?
Yeah, there are games scheduled for tonight. I can't remember which. It's 2 games, Kentucky and somebody. I can't remember. They got
somebody. Is South Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky somebody?
Yeah, beats me. I guess I could pull that up and look at it. They got Arkansas, Florida in last night, in large part because Florida got into Fayetteville during a window in their snow.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a airport up there because of all the business with Walmart and such, that it's not just a little mom and pop airport. It's fairly legit.
Yeah, and they have some crappy weather from time to time.
So they're more used to it. Like Campbell said, she was getting around fine yesterday around town, which makes her think, "Oh, I can get home." And I'm like, "Well, might want to be cool there."
Yeah, that's not the same thing. Driving around Fayetteville and getting to Oxford from Fayetteville are very, very different from one another. As you said, I'll throw up the. What am I doing? Okay, a couple things. You are running audition right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure if we get too far into this. Also, are we doing prayer today? When are you going to put this up? What are we doing with it?
Yeah, we can put it up today. It's
tomorrow. What do you want to do?
No, we can put it up today, and people can listen to it during the day tomorrow. And we'll do some sort of a show tomorrow night. You're not going to be able to get here tomorrow night.
No, but I mean, we can do whatever.
But we can do something. Yeah.
Somebody bored mentioned maybe a watch along with something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll do something.
I think people will be interested in Prater. What got me, Tommy sent me a text on Sunday that just said, "Can you believe it's been 20 years since Dale Earnhardt crashed and died at the Daytona 500?" And I actually was upstairs on the Peloton and had turned on the Daytona 500 pre-race, which for me was not something I would typically do. But I was, for some reason, interested in it.
But you did not know it was the 20th anniversary prior to Tommy saying that.
I did, only because I was watching the show, and I was telling him that what happened was, it was one of those things, it was kind of odd. I was actually, when he sent me the text, and I've not heard from Tommy in months, when he sent me the text, I was thinking about Tommy. And the text pops up, and I was like, "You won't believe this, but I was sitting here just watching this on the TV." And then the race got delayed. I actually was going to go up and watch the race. And the race got delayed, and then they didn't start it till 9-something at night, and I didn't see it. But yesterday, we were just flipping around, and I can't remember I was kind of looking for something to watch. And I stumbled across this ESPN documentary about Dale Earnhardt and his legacy. And it was really well done. ESPN did it. Ryan McGee did a great job, and it got me kind of thinking about Tommy. And I reached out to him, and I said, "Hey, I don't know if you've seen this documentary, but it's really good." And we started kind of talking a little bit via text. And I said, "You want to do a podcast segment?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And so I said, "I'll call you at 10." And I called him today at 10, and we talked till about 11:20. I mean, he was great. We talked a lot about Earnhardt, and it's an interesting thing because he's this big, gentle giant of a guy. Tommy Prater is. He's known everybody in NASCAR forever, and he was right there. He saw them take Dale Earnhardt's body out of that car, and Tommy, to this day, when he talks about that, gets emotional. He got emotional today, so it was a really, really compelling podcast. We ended up talking about Bubba Wallace. We talked about the stuff that happened over the summer with the noose was that Talladega. We talked about that. There's a lot there. If you like NASCAR, you'll love it. It's a great podcast. I stay out of the way and basically let him talk. And if you're just interested in stuff it's a pretty good conversation.
One quick aside of yesterday's podcast, a couple people have mentioned this on Twitter. You were exactly right. I'd asked Brett Huber. There was a game where Bobby Wall and Mike Myers had thrown in the same game. Brett said he could not remember that, did not think it happened. He thought the media guide was wrong. The media guide was not wrong. Actually, I think Neal might have I think this was the one game you have attended at Swayze Field. The rain out on that Friday night back in 2013 when they came back against State the next day. But anyway, Wall and Myers pitched both that day. It was a two-hitter that Ole Miss won that day. So the media guy was 100% right. I had forgotten that game happened.
It was one of two games that I have attended at Swayze, not on the media pass, since I've been here. I was there for a birthday party, and I couldn't believe I was there for the birthday party. It was 2013, so he was 7, and I'm watching warm-ups and stuff, and you can see the storm coming in.
Yeah,
and they're warming up the pitchers. And I'm like, what in the hell are you doing?
Yeah, you and I had this podcast topic done for Monday because you're like, why is Bobby up? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm watching him pitch, and I'm like, but why? And if I recall, he went out and threw one
he pitched
inning.
the top of the first. That was it.
Pitched the top of the first, just mowed him down, and then the bottom fell out. And it wasn't like it was, oh, wow, where'd that come from? It was, no, you could see it rolling in. And, I mean, it rained so hard, Chase, that Carson and I were running to a car through it felt like a lake. We were soaked. It rained so hard. There was no chance they were resuming that game that night. 0% chance. I was stunned they even started it.
Well, not just mowed him down, he struck out the side, because I've got the press release here. It says junior right-hander Mike Myers picked up the relief win in the first game, working 7 scoreless innings, allowing 2 hits on a pair of walks, 5 strikeouts. He relieved Bobby Wall, who pitched the top of the first on Friday night with 3 strikeouts before rain forced the suspension of the game.
Yeah.
He pitched 3 batters, struck them all out, and didn't throw the rest of the weekend.
I remember watching him go, well, they'll always know that he had good stuff.
He was dialed.
He was dialed in. He's like, what do you, it was, but you know, I remember they were playing State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mississippi State was on the other side. Their dude was just getting ready. I mean, he was working his way up into a lather, and you were just like, but why? And so, anyway.
That was actually a critical part of, and we're going to get off this subject. It does not matter. I guess we have other stuff. I don't know what we're talking about. But nonetheless, that was a critical weekend for State because Ole Miss beat the crap out of them 2 games in a row, and they had a comeback win to keep from getting swept against Ole Miss on Sunday afternoon. And they damn near didn't lose again all the way to finishing second in the country. They were not a very good baseball team, but they got so hot. They ended up making the finals of the College World Series and losing to UCLA, and that was kind of their turning point, was getting a huge comeback against Ole Miss on that Sunday.
Oh, I do remember that. Because I was in Jackson for that final game. I'd gone down there to talk to a bunch of high school kids, and one of the kids I talked to, if I remember right, that day was Gardner Minshew.
Really?
Yeah, who was not good. Yeah, I met him at some restaurant, and I did a profile on him. He was not good enough to go to either Ole Miss or State, but
yeah,
good enough to play in the NFL. I don't know if you saw this. The SEC baseball television schedule is out.
Yeah, it's on our board.
Okay. For people that are listening, Ole Miss's games, they're all going to be on the ESPN3, all that stuff, all the conference games. But the games that are actually on the SEC network or the ESPN networks,
which is probably, just kind of cutting you off real quick, probably some semblance of a schedule that we'll do some watch party stuff for some of these.
Thursday, March the 25th, Ole Miss and Alabama's on ESPNU. Saturday, March the 27th, Ole Miss and Alabama on the SEC Network. Thursday, April 1st, Ole Miss and Florida on SEC Network. Friday, April the 9th, Arkansas and Ole Miss and Oxford on the SEC Network. Friday, April the 16th, Ole Miss at Mississippi State on the SEC Network. And I very well may have missed one, but those are the ones that I noticed in my real quick glance through. Involved.
Yeah, it's like Friday or Saturday against Vanderbilt. There are 10. I don't remember what all of them are, but
okay. Yeah,
2 against Alabama, and then 1 against some other teams, and then also the last week in the regular season, they don't
yeah.
schedule anybody. They do like a wild card where they kind of rotate depending on who's winning and what's up.
So here's the rest of that schedule. I didn't realize there were two pages. Thursday, April the 22nd, LSU and Ole Miss. Saturday, May the 1st, South Carolina and Ole Miss. Saturday, May the 8th, Ole Miss at Texas A&M. Sunday, May the 9th, Ole Miss at Texas A&M. Friday, May the 14th, Vanderbilt at Ole Miss. And then that Friday, Saturday, the May 21st and 22nd, it's what they call wild card. The Friday game, the Thursday game that week is LSU at Texas A&M, and then they're leaving Friday and Saturday open to see, I guess, which games mean what.
Correct, yeah, that's what they're doing. Speaking of that Friday against Vanderbilt, that will be Doug Nikhazy against Kumar Rocker if everything goes to scratch. Kind of pubbing somebody else's show or podcast or whatever. Rocker did a thing with Friedman, the pitching ninja, that was excellent here in the last couple of days.
If it's anywhere near as good as the one he did with Marcus Stroman, I'm in. The one he did with Stroman was absolutely fascinating. Friedman's great. His stuff's great. And you can tell pitchers love him because Marcus Stroman gave him 30 minutes and showed him every one of his grips.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting watching Marcus Stroman, who I'm a fan of, sort of explain how he does what he does and saying to kids, hey, if the ball's not comfortable coming out of your hands, don't throw it.
Yeah.
You know, it was really interesting. If it's close to as good as the one with Stroman, I'll definitely watch.
We got a little bit of an answer yesterday on the podcast, Neal. I thought about you. One of our running jokes we've been doing for years and years and years and almost a decade. I just in passing asked Brett about Mike and mound presence and the thing with Pomeranz where he wouldn't let him on the mound. And he said it became a running joke inside the team because he said Mike realized what Drew was doing and started trying to body him up and like move him off the mound and move him. And Drew absolutely refused. He told him basically, I'm not getting off the mound. I refuse to do that while you're out here. So you can stand down there and look at me. But he said that Mike would have body language or he would attempt to body and move Drew off his pivot as he came out there. So, yeah.
My money was on Drew then. It would be on Drew now. And normally my money would be on Mike 90% of the time, maybe more, but not with that guy.
Hey, still in the major leagues. He's put a hell of a career together.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He has a mentality that you can't.
That was kind of how we got on the topic. Was we talked about the ability for guys to flip the switch, and he was talking about how on a game day he went silent and became a loner, like that he kind of lost all personality and just wanted to be left alone from the time he got to the park to when he got off the mound. That he didn't want to have conversation. There was no playing around. He just completely isolated himself.
There are a lot of pitchers that are that way. They're one way the 4 days they're not pitching, and they're another way on the day that they are.
Yeah.
And, John Lester was that way or is that way. It's going to be weird to watch John Lester pitch for another team.
Where's he at now?
With the Nationals.
Oh, Nationals.
Okay. I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts, the power of nostalgia in sports. I mean, I've come to total grips with the fact that the Cubs are rebuilding. I'm cool with it. Makes sense. Understood why they let John Lester go. I totally got it.
Mm-hmm.
Would like to see him pitch at Wrigley. Hopefully he gets to pitch at Wrigley when there's a crowd and he gets the ovation that he deserves. That being said, I understood it. Yet on Friday, when it came out that they were bringing Jake Arrieta back, and I love Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta's a badass. And what he did in 2015 and 2016, my two favorite Cub teams ever, I will forever love Jake Arrieta. They bring Jake Arrieta back on a 1-year, $6 million deal, and it makes no sense from a baseball perspective at all. And yet, I heard about it on Friday afternoon, and I was like, Carson, did you hear about Arrieta? And he goes, no. I said, they're bringing him back. And he goes, really? And we're like all giddy about Jake Arrieta coming back, and it's nothing but nostalgia. Jake Arrieta's a shell of what he was in 2015 when he was the
best pitcher in baseball for a little while.
For 2/3 of a Major League Baseball season, he was the best pitcher on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
What he did in August of 2015, the only person who's ever come close to posting those numbers for a month in Major League Baseball is Bob Gibson. That's it. In the history of the game.
Really?
That's it. Pure total domination. No one touched him. No one hit balls hard. He struck everybody out. He didn't walk anyone. Dominated. Threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers where Not only was it a no-hitter, it was a dominant no-hitter. It was. They didn't touch him. They didn't come close. It was the Kerry Wood 20 strikeout game for a month. The only person that's ever done that from a number standpoint is Bob Gibson, who was amazing.
Yeah. We'll continue the podcast and have plenty more in a second. First, I'll tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, DeSoto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting that understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We are also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Also brought to you by The Rogue, your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items, Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com. Also brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. Blue Delta's been advertising with us for the past 2 years. We've always directed you to DM them to set up a time to get measured. So now, whether you're coming to Oxford or not, you can visit BlueDeltaJeans.com to get measured by their new virtual tailor and design your very own jeans. Just for our podcast listeners, enter the discount code Rebel Grove. That's all lowercase at checkout, and take 10% off your order. They're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I've got on my corduroys today. I love them. One of my favorite pairs. So go on and make a pair for yourself as well at BlueDeltaJeans.com. And we're brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. It's your trailer-specific professional. They've got Load Trail, the premium brand trailer, the highest quality utility, equipment, dump, and gooseneck trailer being built today. Fully primed, powder-coated Load Trail trailers come with an industry-leading 3-year warranty and 2 years of roadside assistance. Alpha Specialties also has Hallmark cargo trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market, perfect for hauling goods to markets and shows, ATVs to deer camps, hauling race cars, and more. All you got to do, get in touch with them at 601-932-9798 or check them out at alphaofms.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about Alpha on the MPW Digital Network of podcasts.
A little bit of news here from Visit Oxford. You can again go to visitoxfordms.com, go to the events page to see what's going on. The big news of the week, double-decker being canceled for 2021. So second year in a row there without the festival downtown in Oxford back, hopefully, for 2022. But nonetheless, that is the big news this week from a downtown perspective. But to find out more, again, go to the events page, find out what is going on, what is happening every single week in Oxford. Again, visit oxfordms.com/events.
I don't understand it. Honestly, I don't. I don't understand why they had to. Why that has to be canceled in February.
The reason you would do it so early is because of the vendors and the musicians and trying to get people booked and not having to cancel and move them later. But what's interesting about me is I am curious if these executive orders get relaxed any in the next 30 days based off numbers. I think that's the only thing where you go, hey, in 2 weeks, do we get any kind of relief, or can you have any kind of predictive relief on what's headed that way? Because, I mean, I don't know, here in the last week, somebody asked me, what do you think on baseball attendance or football attendance or anything else? And, I mean, I do in my head think we get to 50% at least here in the next somewhat. I don't know what my date is I have for that, but I mean, I have to feel like there's some optimism to get to 50.
My concern is this. It's very simple.
Sure.
Whenever anyone does anything to relax the standards, to increase attendance, there's this backlash. It's very public. It's visceral. It's angry. It's scared, and it's vocal. And that noise scares leaders. And they succumb to it time after time. Time after time. And at the risk of people thinking I'm getting political, I really don't care anymore. What we said was, it's been almost a year now. You didn't want to overwhelm the medical systems. Well, they're nowhere close to overwhelmed right now. And so at some point, people are going to have to say, okay, we're going to go to 50% attendance. We're going to go to 75% attendance. And then you have to just take that firestorm of criticism that comes your way, and you've just got to let it go. It's my opinion. My concern is that when that firestorm of concern comes, everybody goes, oh, we're not going to do it. Never mind. And once you just keep going with something, it's very difficult to back away from it. It's very difficult to go, okay, so here's what we're going to do. And then roll with it.
And so much of that right now is on governments because, I don't know this. I don't know that I even asked the question. I think as an institution, Ole Miss would go to at least 50% right now on baseball attendance or any attendance, basketball, whatever, but they are not literally allowed by the state at this moment. I think that should the executive orders get relaxed, or at least there was any hope there, I think they would immediately move in that direction and get it done.
That's why I ask people, what do you think about the fall? But I do it all the time. What do you think about the fall? And you always get these real word salad answers.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of depends. I'm like, what does it depend on? Is there a set number? What does the fall look like? And it's why when people ask me, what do you think the fall looks like? My honest answer is, what do I think it looks like, or what do I think it should look like? Because there's two different things. I think the Grove should be open this fall. I have no confidence that it will be. I think stadiums should be open to full capacity this fall. I have no confidence they will be. I think classes should be in-person instruction this fall. I have no confidence that they will be much more than they are right now. I think elementary school kids should be able to go to school without wearing masks in the fall. I have no confidence they will be. And my concern is it just keeps going. And at some point, somebody has to say, okay, well, we're past this, knowing that here comes the backlash from that segment of people that are pro-lockdown. They want to lock it down. They're scared, and they want to lock it down, and that those people exist. They're very vocal. They're far more vocal than the people who are like, hey, let's open things back up, and maybe we have to be a little more responsible or whatnot, but let's open it back up. Those people are not ones like me. I'm not writing letters to the mayor, but the scared people are. It's just when's it stop? We're late February now. We're more than halfway through February. We're going to do these shows We're going to do these shows in about 3 weeks that are going to be 1 year anniversary shows.
Yeah.
They're right around the corner.
Date?
March the 11th. March the 11th.
Yeah. That's the day it all fell out in the sports world?
Yeah, it was the day of the Rudy Gobert, and Ole Miss was playing Georgia, and the SEC tournament got canceled the next day, and NCAA tournament that killed college baseball that day. Ole Miss played on March the 11th at ULM.
Yeah.
David, I can tell you in the thread that no show like that would possibly ever happen. No chance. 0% chance.
So we mentioned in the very big first bit of an opening, LSU canceled tomorrow night. Nobody's shocked. They had no way to get here. We didn't really think that was going to happen at any point since it was scheduled and moved. Look, I give the SEC credit. They kept trying to get it done. But there's just no way to get this thing played. Puts Ole Miss back into a situation still where I guess, Neal, you can lose that one game in Columbia, and that's probably about it. Just kind of looking at it, even though they're sort of back on the bubble right now. But Missouri getting pounded in a net standpoint. You look at it here, and they lose to Georgia last night. I think that's 3 in a row now for Missouri overall. They've fallen 6 spots in 24 hours. They're down to 43 in the net.
Yeah, they've had a really rough 10 days. They lost to Ole Miss, they lost to Arkansas, and now they lose to Georgia. The Georgia loss hurts them. And Georgia,
Ole Miss is getting no help from anyone.
None. And so people say, well, what needs to happen? Hell, I don't know. Just win, I guess. I don't.
I still think record matters most right now. I think if you can just get to even, I guess now it's 10-7 in the league. Is that what it is? 9-7. What is it? What do they got to get to? What are they right now? 7-6.
7-6. So they got
if you get to
four
10
more
and
games.
7, aren't you fine?
I think so.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I don't have any They have a weekend. Like Ole Miss and Kentucky, I think, is a Tuesday night, and that's the regular season finale. So you could make up a game that weekend going into the SEC tournament. I don't know whether they want to or not.
I haven't heard that like we heard with football.
We get Kermit tomorrow, I think, and I'm going to ask, what do you think happens with that? What's Arkansas up to in the net today? Do you have the net up by any chance?
Yeah, I do.
They've won 7 games in a row in the league.
LSU's 26. Alabama's 8. Arkansas's 24.
Yeah.
Sucks between Creighton and San Diego State.
They've done a nice job with that team. He's a weird cat, Musselman. But his ability to get a team playing well it's noticeable. They really those last 3 minutes against Florida. I don't know how much you watched of that game. I had it on. It was a good game. Arkansas built the lead. Florida came back, tied it up basically with 3 minutes left. It was basically even, and Arkansas just dominated the final 3 minutes of that game. Multiple weapons. I love Moses Moody, and he's going to be a first-round pick, but he's not the leader of that team. They have some veteran backcourt guys, and the really big, tall, skinny white kid whose name escapes me right now. He's really improved over the course of the season. He gives them a lot more than just a big, tall person.
He killed Ole Miss, right?
You're thinking about the kid for Florida.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Starts with a C for Florida.
Yeah, Castleton or something like that. But Arkansas's good. They were really good last night, late in that game. Just kind of made plays on defense. They're athletic, very very active. So they're up to 24. They're absolutely moving their way up the numbers. Florida's what's their net right now? Late
30.
30. Yeah, so they're fine. Missouri playing their way into the wrong part of the bubble if they're not careful.
Yeah, they're still fine right now, but Ole Miss at 56.
Connor Vanover is his name. Yeah, he's a good player.
Auburn at 65. That brings that quad 1 back in for Auburn, for Ole Miss at Auburn, by the way.
Yeah.
So they've jumped back up into an area there.
Ole Miss needs to beat Mississippi State at home. Then
they need Kentucky.
They need to take advantage, frankly, of the opportunity at Missouri. They need to take advantage of the fact that Missouri is struggling and win that game, and you're in great shape.
Here's the thing, though. If you win that one, I get that, yeah, you might can lose on it anywhere. But, I mean, the path still remains the 3 easiest games are Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and State, and that's probably enough. It's going to be skin of your teeth, but it's probably enough.
Kentucky's that team, if I'm Ole Miss, I'm just a little worried about because they're capable. But they have so much talent that they're capable on any given night to sort of put that talent together and
you don't want to be at the mercy of the basketball gods a little bit there. That's the day that Boston goes for 32 and looks like the kid that they think he can be.
He's a kid who's paying the price for the one and done. He opened the year as a top 5 pick. He's probably more like a 21st, 22nd pick right now.
Mm-hmm. Kentucky currently 6-13, 76 in the net at the moment. State. Man, they floundered. They're 11-11, and they're 94.
What state in the league? 5-8?
I'm pulling it up now.
Something like that.
5-8.
Yeah.
Their RPI, by the way, is 147. We'd be talking in the old system. We'd be talking about not just a loss, but one of those just season-defining bury you losses.
Yeah. Ole Miss, look. Ole Miss is playing really well right now. The only team in the league who's hotter than Ole Miss is Arkansas. They got to stay hot, and they got their hands full. I think they beat Mississippi State on Saturday pretty handedly. State's just doesn't look like the same team. On the other side, Vanderbilt's playing better lately, and Kentucky is capable, as we just discussed.
The RPI is almost. Has the RPI changed any? Because it's almost negative to Power 5 teams now. I know it's irrelevant, so we don't talk about it anymore, and it doesn't matter. But I'm looking at some RPI numbers that are amazing to me. Tennessee It's 13 in the net and 43 in the RPI. Florida, 30 in the net, 52 in the RPI. The RPI is bad for almost anybody in the Power 5 or in the SEC at least. That's not just a really dominant team. Missouri is the one getting killed in this current system. Their net is 43. Their RPI is 12.
Wow.
Yeah. Bubble to 3 seed.
Yeah, I don't know. T asks, is Saturday going to happen with the ice? Yeah, I mean, if you look at the radar, the ice will be melted by then. State doesn't have to fly. They can get here. I would think by taking just kind of the main roads, they'd be fine.
Leave a little early, do whatever you got to do.
That game's a 5 o'clock game. And frankly, they could wait till Saturday to leave.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I was going to look for the schedule for today. I meant to pull it up. I forgot.
I can pull it up. Let's see. I had it.
Today's the 17th.
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Yeah, one of them is South Carolina and Tennessee. Carolina 3-7 in the league. Tennessee 7-5.
It's Kentucky at Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Also 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central.
Vanderbilt 2-8 coming off their 21-point win over Mississippi State.
Yeah. So Kentucky Vanderbilt's the early game. South Carolina at Tennessee is the late game. Both of those games on the SEC network tonight.
Tennessee kind of needs that one. Not doing anything stupid. They've fallen out of that. Oh wow, they're really good category. They're fine.
Yeah. No, they're for whatever reason. The biggest reason is they have a hard time scoring.
Yeah. Adam asking in the thread, any news on baseball? I mean, I have no reason to believe they're not going to play Saturday, Sunday, Monday as currently scheduled. Now, look, Arlington and the Dallas area is dealing with massive power outages. That's an issue when you're using resources in a baseball stadium that, frankly, some residences are not getting around the area. But as far as I know, it is being played as scheduled as of right now. Ole Miss is still planning to leave, still planning to be as it is. 3 o'clock all 3 days for the Rebels. They play TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas Saturday to Monday, 3 o'clock for all those 3 games. So, yeah.
I'm a little surprised, honestly. I mean, I hope the games get played. I'm a little surprised that thing hasn't gotten
nixed.
A little bit. Just, they've moved a couple of hockey games. They've canceled some NBA games.
I don't know why. I feel like through midday tomorrow feels like a really danger zone for that tournament. That sometime tomorrow there's at least a conversation around the table.
If you can't get power back, that's a problem. The optics of playing a baseball tournament
when you have rolling blackouts going all over the area.
Yeah, for 11 hours in February, the optics are
not good.
Awful. Just awful.
You don't have to have power. It's fine. Just
gonna be chilly inside that building that first.
You just need a field.
First day.
That's all you need.
So I don't know. I don't know what'll happen there. We'll see. Like I said, I hope they play. I'm a little surprised though that as we sit here on Wednesday at almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm a little surprised that they're still hanging on to that. They made a great move backing it up a day, which bought them another day. Because
there was no shot Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
If it was scheduled for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it was rigid, I think today would have been a cancellation day.
Yeah, I do too. So we'll continue the show in 1 second. Tell you about Northeast Spark. That's NESPARC.com, servicing people across rural communities. 2-package, 100 Mbps or the Blaze 1 gig at powers the Clark Ford Studio, and quite well these days. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. 662-238-3159. Phone service also available, parental controls, network security, and more. Again, call them, check them out online, find out if they're in your area. If they are, get them to hook it up for you. Again, NESPARC.com.
We're also brought to you by Bain, Moss, and Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wider range of law, I should say, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss, and Bowen's the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth or call them at 662-287-1620. My mailbag's up at rebelgrove.com. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. Also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB is also home to Casasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. They've got a commercial business account. It gives 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. To learn more about all of that at OUB, go to liveoxford.bankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. And we're brought to you by Regency Travel, John Edwards, Regency Travel in Memphis. If you're thinking about planning a trip for this summer, maybe you're already thinking about a holiday trip, you want to put a golf trip together, there's trips in Florida, other places you can go where things are pretty wide open, in fact, at resorts and that kind of thing for golf. Get in touch with John. Just give him some parameters, give him a budget, then sit back and let him give you options you won't find on your own. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
So you think something's wrong with Rizzo?
Rizzo the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's weird, man. I mean, don't tell him I said that, but
you don't mean like health-wise?
no, like just
okay.
Emotion.
I got worried. I thought you thought like he had a disease or something.
No, he's just got some emotional thing. He's like real clingy. He follows me around everywhere I go. I mean, why would anybody want to follow me around everywhere I go? And I know it's because I feed him, and I'm the one that takes him on walks, and we go on long walks. And he likes that. Those are the highlights of his days, but still follows me around the house. Now, sometimes it's just stalking me because he wants me to take him on a walk. And sometimes it's, hey, bald dude, you do know it's like 5 o'clock, right, bud? You got it? I mean, it's feed me. I get that. But sometimes it's just a little needier than that. Kind of worries me that we've developed some sort of a condition.
Where is Gus in this situation?
Fine. Gus is Gus.
He has no issues.
Yeah,
with
Gus is all good. Gus doesn't really care whether I'm hanging out or not. But like Rizzo came up looking for me in the playroom today. He never does that.
Seeking you out.
Seeking me out, yeah, because I'd done a Peloton ride. I was doing my Pilates workout, and next thing you know, there's Rizzo. Boom.
Okay.
Maybe it's the cold. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I was trying to find some issues. I didn't necessarily find issues, but I was a little surprised because I noticed something with me. I feel like fairly up on pop culture. I've seen a ton of movies, more than you have. Try to watch everything I feel like I'm supposed to watch, and I found a huge glaring hole in my movie watching when I was reading through your mailbag. I've never seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Really?
No.
Well, it's kind of before your time, but
I know, but I mean, I've seen 16 Candles. I've seen Ferris Bueller. I've seen Pretty in Pink. I've seen Back to the Future. I mean, any of that stuff that we would be comparing it to. Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For whatever reason, that one has just escaped me. It's kind of like I've never, from start to finish, watched all of Dazed and Confused. I've seen parts, but I've never sat down and watched the movie.
I'm trying to think if I have or not. I think I have. I've seen all of the ones you just referenced. I'll tell you a movie that stands up against the test of time. A Few Good Men.
Oh, it's a really good movie.
That was on yesterday, and about halfway through, Laura had it on, and I was watching it. I was kind of fixing myself something for lunch, and I kept kind of getting suckered in, and before you know it, I'm like, you know what? I'm watching the last 45 minutes. No
matter what time in the movie you turn it on, you're good.
Yeah.
5 minutes in, okay, I'm with you for the next 2 hours. An hour in, okay, fine. Let's do it. Because as much as I joke around about really liking him, it's one of the few movies where Tom Cruise is actually a legitimately really good actor in that movie.
Yeah.
He's really good. And now he is a terrible athlete in all of his movies. And you see that with his little softball game or whatever he's doing with the baseball thing as well in that one. He's a horrific athlete in any movie he's in. But, and Jack Nicholson is only in like less than 10 minutes of that movie or something. You know what I mean? Like we think about how much he's in that thing, but he's only in like 3 scenes.
Well, and spoiler alert for anybody out there.
It's from 1992. It'd be all right.
But the big question, I know that the question that everybody talks about during the cross-examination is did you order the code red? But the better question was, well, if everyone follows orders and you'd ordered for the officer to be protected, why were you remotely worried that something was going to happen to him? That was the question. Like I never understood why it took so long to get to that. That would have been it. Explain that to me.
If there's no doubt they're going to do whatever you tell them to do.
Then what was the big deal?
That they're machines.
Then the other movie that came on last night.
It's like Neal just got cable yesterday. Suddenly we're going through all the TNT new classics.
So I've read the book. I'd never seen the movie before, The Outsiders.
Sure. Yeah.
I read the book.
Okay.
I did not realize how star-studded that cast was. Ralph Macchio, Matt Dillon, Rob Lowe, C. Thomas Howell, Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, all in the same movie.
Diane Lane, too.
Oh, is that right?
Diane Lane was in that movie.
Oh, you're right. Diane Lane's in it. Leif Garrett.
Who's Leif Garrett?
He was a very popular singer back in the 80s.
Okay.
Sofia Coppola. Tom Waits. A lot of people in that deal.
That ensemble cast-wise, that's about as good as you can get, especially like 10 years later when you look back at what happened there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a known name, don't get me wrong, but I do kind of funny that C. Thomas Howell leads the cast, and then you got all these dudes under him on the billing. Like, hey, it's C. Thomas Howell, and then it's these dudes.
Ships in the night.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I didn't realize all those cats were in that movie, and so it comes on last night. It was like 10 something, and I'm like, oh damn it, I'm going to get suckered into this because I just didn't know. And anyway, yeah, I know that's my life story. I've missed so many. Unlike you, I've not seen so many movies that everyone says you have to see.
C. Thomas Howell, one of his trivia questions, movie I just mentioned a minute ago, is that he was one of the finalists to play Marty McFly in Back to the Future when Eric Stoltz got the part. But then when they removed Stoltz, they didn't go back to C. Thomas Howell. They hired Michael J. Fox.
Oh.
Yeah. So he actually finished number 2 in the original casting for Marty McFly in Back to the Future. But then other things happened, and here you are. So, nonetheless, yeah. Yeah, A Few Good Men has a complete cast, too. I mean, it's a murderer's row for that time period as well.
Yeah. They're at the top of their games at that point. I mean, Cruise is really good.
It's close to like the peak for Cruise because you don't have a ton more movies before he starts going criminally insane. Yeah. I mean, the peak is probably Jerry Maguire, so it's a little later, but it's getting right there if you have him toward the end and the peak and the household names before he starts turning back the other direction. Speaking of Ralph Macchio, have you watched any of the Cobra Kai series that have been on streaming?
I have not. Someone was telling us about that yesterday, and so they were saying how good it is. I didn't realize that it was like a playoff of The Karate Kid, so I guess I'll.
How'd you miss that memo?
No, I just didn't realize that's what they were going to do. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't realize that he was in it. So to answer your question, no, I knew very little about it. I guess I'll watch. One of the things was like, what are you streaming? And feel so stupid because I haven't streamed anything since Schitt's Creek. I just haven't had time. It's not that I don't have time, but I don't ever make time for that.
Feel like wasted time?
No, it's not that. I just never go do it. Like I keep saying, because I've had so many people say, you need to watch what's the one with Yellowstone?
Sure.
And just haven't watched it. Haven't even started it. And people are like, "Oh, it's great. You'll love it." And I keep thinking I'll watch it, but I never do. Are you streaming anything?
I watched The Queen's Gambit.
I've seen that. I've seen it.
Little of Flight Attendant, but not really. Mine has been, I've been reading more, and I feel like I'm having a hard time for a series to catch me enough to make me want to watch it. Because I'm so bad, and I know this, if I start one, I want to finish it even if it sucks. So in my head, I've got to really be into it and really be into the plot or something before I actually hit that first play button. It just doesn't really work. I can't make myself do it because I know I'll sit through seasons or bad episodes just to get through it. And then I do it feel like I'm wasting time. Like I'm good at that point. But I don't know. The only other thing I found really interesting, not that all the questions weren't wonderful in your mailbag, and I knew this, that Major League Baseball beat writer was kind of your dream thing back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I think it showed my baseball dorkiness is that I would have liked to have covered a really strong organization's minor league team, where you're seeing those guys and get the better stories and get all the kind of the before and after deal there. Like, David Brand, I've talked to him. We're sitting at bars and stuff. Like, my most jealous or envious thing of him is when he covered that AA Dodgers or Cubs team or whatever it was that had all those stars on at that time. You're like, holy hell! Yeah. Like, you got these guys before they became this title contender or this group as they were coming up.
One of the most fun things I ever did in Mobile. I loved it. It was one of my favorite assignments. I did it every year. They'd send me out to Arizona for a week to 10 days, and I'd go right about the time that the camp had started. Major League camp was starting to wind down. In fact, I usually was there on getaway day when the big league camp broke. And so the 20-something guys that had been assigned to Mobile when I got there had been assigned to Mobile, and I'd go out to the backfields, and I'd get those guys after workouts and stuff just to do profiles on, because when the Bay Bears started, we'd have all this series of here's who's on the Bay Bears, which I always thought, when you think about it, was kind of crazy because a week later it's going to be a completely different set of people. But we would go do those stories, and I loved them. Those were fun. But I was in some big league camps during doing that, like doing stories on former Bay Bears or whatnot. And I always thought covering a spring training as a major league writer would be pretty cool because it is more laid back. I can remember going into the Padres spring training clubhouse and waiting for Jake Peavy or somebody and just chatting it up with Trevor Hoffman or whoever was there. It was just a lot more laid back. I remember talking to Ken Caminiti one day, just having a conversation. And that's what you get with baseball. And frankly, and I think you'll agree with this, you get it at the college level in a way that you don't get it in other sports. For whatever reason or reasons, with baseball, it's more laid back. The access is more laid back. This is pre-pandemic, of course. It's not this way this year. But you could walk into a major league clubhouse at spring training at 8:15 in the morning and really get a lot of access to people. And then they'd go out, they'd do their workout, they'd come back in. A lot of times they had an afternoon game or whatnot. And then the starters start getting pulled from the games, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th inning, and you could just go down and get them for whatever you were working on. You just got
during the game.
During games, yeah. And there just was a different level of access. And over the course of a major league season, if you're a good writer and you have a curiosity about your work, now you got to love baseball. But I always thought, people always ask me that if you had a do-over career thing, what would you do? The one thing I probably would have done is I would have found a way early in my career to cover a couple of major league seasons. I don't think I'd want to do it forever because you can't have a life.
There's no family.
But I would love to have done it for a couple of years because I've done just enough of it to get a taste of it, and it's cool. I mean, you really get to write. You get to write. I mean, this is inside baseball stuff. I find the way that college football coverage, the way that it has devolved to, I find it to be remarkably unfulfilling as a journalist. I find it to be boring. We get the same three people on a Zoom call, but even when it wasn't a Zoom call, there was very little opportunity to break away and get something different, to get something unique. And you could say, well, you have to come up with something creative. Well, you do, but if you ask the player or the coach about what it is you're working on, you're now giving it to everyone else too.
Yeah.
And so it's just,
there's no rhythm to it at all. It's all group stuff. It's all top secret, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing kind of air quotes. And some of it is the program that Mike's cultivated, but some of it is just, the rhythm of baseball. It's just the way it works because just the way practices work. Yeah, we've got some, group interviews of Doug Nikhazy or Gunnar Hoagland or whatever that day, but you're just kind of down there for like 30 minutes. I mean, you walk over in the dugout and go, hey, come here, and you're doing this, and you're just kind of chatting, and it does two things. It gives you what you're talking about, which is access to write stories and get angles that everybody else is not following you around on. You'll have some puppies sometimes that do try to just follow you around with a tape recorder, but for the most part, you get some individual stuff. But also, you get to actually know the guy. Hey, let's just chat about the weather or the day or whatever. Well, over the course of 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 years, they know you well enough that when you do go with something and go, hey, it's a little out there, but I want to ask you about it, you get a real answer suddenly because you're a human. He's a human.
They know your name.
We're not friends, but we know one another. Like we can have a conversation where it's not so whatever.
They know your name.
Yeah.
It's one of the problems with like football now, with even basketball. I think if you were to ask the 13 guys on scholarship at Ole Miss, can you name a beat writer? Not many could. Not one.
You don't think so?
No, I mean I think a few. I think Devontae Shuler would say that he knows who I am. I mean, I've talked to him. I've talked to his family, so he's seen those kinds of stories. Brian certainly would have said me, and Ben Garrett for sure. Terrence Davis and Ben Garrett had a pretty good relationship. I've had good relationships with Sebastian Saiz and Nick Williams and Jarvis Summers, but now it's even changed. It's hard to get to know guys. I mean, it's a weird thing. So that's the part of when people say, what would you like about Major League Baseball, was that ability to walk into a clubhouse, earn some respect, cultivate some sources, and be able to write far more in-depth things about the team that you cover and the people that you cover. Because that's, to me, the fun stories are writing stories about people. I mean, it's like, because both of us are sort of stat heads, and we like sabermetrics, and we like watching the like you were referencing Kumar Rocker and his grips and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But 90% of the people who read our work, they're not into that. No. They don't know what that means. That's not really what they want to know. In your case, did the Rebels win? And if not, why not? And if so, what do they say about it? And what does it mean? And what does it mean?
And are they going to win tomorrow?
Yeah, can they win tomorrow? What does this mean for seeding? And what does this mean for hosting? And
a lot of minutia.
Yeah, well, and just big picture stuff. They're just, but over the course of a 162 game season, with a 6 week to 8 week spring, you get to write about a lot of stuff that would be totally different. And I think that's what's cool. Like the ones that are really good, like Trent Rosecrans.
Yeah.
He goes down to the Dominican and does a story about, some guy the Reds just got or whatever, and really dives into his life. To me, that's the stuff that I'm like, that's awesome.
What helps the fans? They know the guy. He's a human. If we're going to root for you, let's know you. Let's figure it out. What makes you tick?
Sure.
Are you what's your pregame routine? What do you do? What do you eat that's weird? Okay, good enough. I mean, I've never really thought about it like that, but yeah, in some ways, I think that I don't know that he realized he was doing it, but back 20 years ago, I think that some of what Mike kind of had in mind was, hey, if we're going to get the fan base to give a crap about these guys, whatever you people need as a media, just tell me and we'll do it. Great. Sounds good. Yes. He was marketing himself, but in the same time, he was marketing his program to the fan base.
Oh, it's one of the things I really respect about Mike is I think Mike, a lot of people who we cover don't understand what we do.
Yeah.
At all. And I've always sensed, I covered him for a couple of seasons. I've always sensed that he gets it.
I think he tells the team, hey, look, they're going to be hanging around, talk to them, be nice. Hey, this is what it is.
Yeah, it ends up being free media relations, free marketing, advertising that they don't have to pay for.
Mm-hmm, no doubt. Well, podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area. Maybe not today, but soon whenever the snow gets out of the way. They will take care of you. You don't have to leave your home for that, but if you'd like to, you can pick up there at the pharmacy. And they also offer MedSync to take care of you one day a month. They fill all your prescriptions the same day, make it one trip, make it easy, make sure you have the medicine you need when you need it. So again, that's Tyson Drugs on the Square in Holly Springs or South Lamar in Oxford. That's G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that's built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fees. Also brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's okay. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. You probably know this by now today. If your heating elements weren't working at your house, if your power's out, you know what this is like. Next time you have any issues with heating and air in the Oxford, Tupelo surrounding area, get in touch with the people at Comer Heating and Air. It's the name you can trust. More than 50 years of professional HVAC experience. 662-801-1777 for all of your cooling and heating needs. I was asked about my hat in the stream. It's a Muddy Water camo hat. Go to muddywateroutdoors.com. All you have to do right now, you get the buy one, get one free on the heated jackets and vest. Put one in your cart. The other one automatically goes into the cart. You buy one of the My Charge portable battery chargers. They're $49. You put one in the cart. The other one comes in automatically for free. It's muddywateroutdoors.com. And we're brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry. Lammon's located at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been serving the Oxford area for more than 73 years, from engagement rings to wedding rings to fine jewelry, watches, pearls, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or give them a call at 662-234-2777.
Jacksonville going back to their teal uniforms.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Whatever.
Right, yeah.
It's going to take a lot for Urban and Trevor to make them kind of viable as far as a team. I'm going to care about on a Sunday.
It's going to take a lot to make them even remotely likable. I cheer against them every week for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
They're so nondescript. What difference is it?
And now they go out and hire Meyer, who's just...
Well, it's easy now, but I mean in the past.
I don't know. I don't like their uniforms, a lot of it.
You don't like them because they're suits?
I don't like their suits at all.
Is it a suit in football? That's just a baseball thing or a basketball.
Uniform, suit, whatever you want to call it. I don't like the way it looks. Does nothing for me.
Okay.
Just
fine.
My opinion.
Who else do you root against?
In the NFL?
Yeah. I mean, outside of the NFC North, since you're a lifelong Bears fan, but I mean,
I've always rooted against the Cowboys since I was a kid.
Yeah, I get that one.
I root against them every week.
They're easy to root against. I kind of do it too and don't have a reason.
Yeah, well, as a kid, I just didn't like them because everybody loved them and treated them like they were gods or something. And when they got beat, I always enjoyed it. I cheer against Pittsburgh for some reason. I guess because when I was a kid, I got tired of this.
Nationally popular a little bit?
Well, when I was a kid, everything was Cowboys-Steelers because that was the big rivalry. And I always cheered for the Colts because of Burt Jones. And I cheered for the Broncos because I had an uncle in Denver and stuff like that. I don't know. I've just never been able to like just lock in on one NFL team outside of course, the lifelong affiliation with the Bears.
Yeah, you're kind of a free agent. You're for hire a little bit.
A little bit. I cheer against the Falcons most every week. I don't know why. I just do. Always kind of have.
Amen.
That's about it. About the only teams that I just detest, I guess is the right word.
If you take out the West, I mean the South, it's more of a scar tissue thing. Like right now, the team that I absolutely hate is the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, I can't stand them because of all the things that have happened or a couple things that have happened over the 10 years. But I think that even runs through to when I was young and the Saints were in the NFC West and they had really good seasons, but they never could win the damn division because of the 49ers. I root against the 49ers every week. I cannot stand the San Francisco 49ers. And I guess that's what it's from. I mean, I know they beat the Saints in the 2011 playoffs, but for the most part, that's not somebody that I've run into a ton. But, yeah, always, for whatever reason, it's kind of involuntary, but I cannot stand the 49ers. I was looking through the AFC to see if there's anybody that I even care about rooting against, and frankly, I can't even find anybody. I don't have a negative opinion about any AFC team because I just don't deal with them enough as a fan. It might tell me how big my fandom is, that because I don't have to associate with them from any type of what the Saints are doing standpoint, I just don't care at all. I mean, maybe the Patriots, but it's more just because it's something new and whatever, and I'm tired of doing it. It's not really necessarily even a reason that it's New England.
Yeah. I do kind of cheer against New England. It was easier to cheer for Tom Brady outside of a Patriot uniform for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, no, without a doubt.
Like if Brady was wearing a Patriot uniform in the past Super Bowl, I would have been cheering against him. The fact that he was wearing a new uniform made him somewhat lovable for some reason.
Is it because it was new?
I think it's because it wasn't the Patriots.
That simple.
I think so. Honestly. Do you like my answer to the question about what I would do if I were the AD with just unbridled authority?
PETA would have a huge problem with you on day one. You're killing animals on the 50-yard line.
Is what it is.
It's like the Roman Colosseum going on or something over here all of a sudden.
But I'd be able to say, hey, nobody really died. This was symbolic.
So can you get the bear costume back from who has it? What little school is it that has the bear costume?
I'm sure there's a price.
Carson Newman? Who is it?
Lipscomb or Carson Newman or something. There's a price that I'm sure I could get it back for a day. I probably could even bring their guy or girl or whatever who wears it to come down, kill a shark.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, for a day? Sure. Come down, kill a shark, get arrested.
Okay.
As soon as you get escorted out of the stadium, they put you in your car and off you go.
For the most part, people like the catfish idea.
To me, it makes sense. I've always said that. It kind of makes sense. People think I'm trolling with it, and to some degree I am, but for the most part, I'm kind of serious. It gives you something. I don't think the shark's ever really going to work. Do you? You think the shark's ever going to really catch on?
It doesn't get marketed. Like, it just is there. No, I mean, to make those things work, you have to, from the very beginning, in my opinion, market the hell out of them to kids and everything. And go, hey, this is what it is. We're not scared. And I mean, I think at this point, even Michael and them would admit this.
Yes,
they're scared of all of them. Every time there's a change, it's, hey, well, okay, let's dip our toe in, and then just go.
It's not to get back on the other topic, but it's the reason that I'm cynical about full stadiums. Their deal was, all right, we're going to do this, but we want everyone to like it. Well, everyone's not going to like it. There's always going to be a pushback. And when that segment pushed back, instead of going, hey, it is what it is, get over it, this is what we're doing. The first time someone goes, well, I'm going to withdraw my money. All right, you're not really going to withdraw your money over a mascot. You're angry right now, and you're saying that. But when it comes down to it, you're not going to do that. You're not going to stop coming to the games and coming to the Grove and seeing your family and seeing your friends and all of that because you're upset about a mascot. This will pass. But they let it be. They let that reaction. They basically got embarrassed of the bear, and so they hit it. And so it didn't. The moment you did that, it wasn't going to work anymore. And now you do this land shark thing that feels like a high A minor league baseball team. And
it does have a very minor league feel to it.
And it just, that you're trying to do it on a big time. And, we've talked about this, not to get on the whole mascot thing, but like you go around the league and you see the people that do it right and make money off of it. And you're like, you guys, how do you leave that revenue stream just empty?
If it was just fluffy, even.
Yeah, it's the lovable fluffy shark, but that they've already screwed that up with the can opener.
Because you can't switch now.
I mean, you can, but you got to come out and go, "Hey, look, we screwed it up."
Yeah, do over, mulligan.
Yeah,
hey.
the whole deal. Just
they want him to be really athletic. I heard that.
Yeah, well, some of that is because I think they looked around at some NBA arenas and stuff, and they saw these mascots that could go, and they didn't. I think it all the way through. With those are professional paid mascots who that's what they do. Like if you pay attention to like NBA mascots, those are full-time employees that are mascots basically. And they can do all sorts of stuff. Well, you're not going to get that at the college level. You got kids.
Yeah.
And so, hey, we want one that can do a reverse 360 dunk off a trampoline.
Don't we all?
I mean, yeah, so it's not going to happen. So just put a kid inside a fluffy suit and go sell some stuffed animals.
Pat kids on the head.
Yeah. I mean, I do this like Aubie. When I was covering Auburn, I'd be at an Auburn baseball game, and you'd watch the kids lined up in the concourse to get to the Tiger. Because we all make all these obnoxious jokes about how the Tiger's going to eat a kid or whatever. It was obviously we were being stupid. It's fourth inning of a 8,000-year-long season. But you'd watch the kids line up, and I mean, it's the whole heartstring thing. All those kids are at a baseball game. They couldn't tell you who Auburn's playing.
No.
They're there for the hot dog and to meet the Tiger. They want to go see the Tiger. Well, that's how you build a fan base. Not only are you leaving a revenue stream empty when you don't have a mascot, you're sort of killing a way to win fans at a young age.
And that's Albie, who frankly is a little bit of a homely-looking tiger at times. I mean, he's
a scrawny-looking tiger.
He's not attractive compared to other tiger mascots.
He's not a ferocious tiger. He's just this like goofy, swings his tail around tiger. And
he looks like Tigger.
Yeah.
Like there's no.
Well, yeah. Well, kids love Tigger.
Yeah.
All right. How hard can it be? So I think they were on pace to do it right with Rebel the Bear. And then they just bailed on him because people pushed back.
Yeah, David says, got to go fluffy. My kid's terrified of the lizard. Carly is not scared of him, but she hates him. Like, she's like yelled at him before. She's like telling him to go away.
Well, that's scared of him.
And they think that I'm telling her to say that. I'm like, I swear to God, I'm not.
Of course not. Well, I mean, I'd say you watch Florida and they got the different gators. And Alabama's got Big Al, and you go to an Arkansas game, and I mean they're getting beat by 37 points for the 15th week in a row, and the kids are lined up to meet that pork chop, the little half.
Is it Suey?
Suey's the girl mascot, and you've got Big Red? Is that his name? That's the main one. This is not that complicated. So you look at it and you're like, okay, well that makes sense. And so all the little kids go to the bookstore and they get the little stuffed gator or the stuffed hog or whatever, and they take it home and tuck it into their bed at night. Well, you're not going to keep all of those kids, but you're not going to lose them all either. Some of those are going to turn into lifelong fans.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
See where Ross had to commission a new Reveille? They have a new.
Oh, dear God. They have to sacrifice a goat, throw it into a volcano, or what they have to do? That place.
Yeah, the other one was like retiring. He was talking about how he like tweeted at Reveille to tell you how happy he was to work with her or something. I don't know.
Oh dear God, it's a collie. Cult. Now, the school in the SEC that I cheer against every single week in every single sport is Texas A&M. It's the only one. It's the only one that I'm like, there's no way I would ever be able to like that place. No chance.
Everything's weird. Baseball games, they blow the bubbles.
There's nothing cool about that place.
I mean, who goes, hey, rally bubbles?
No, nobody. I mean, at every other school in the league, I can come up with something that I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of fun. Not there. Nothing. No. Nothing's cool.
Yeah. So, whatever. We will do something tomorrow night. I don't know what it'll be, but you can hang out with us for, in addition to the hand raise guys, we'll figure it out. Because I have a feeling we're going to be sitting in the same chairs we're in right now.
Looks that way.
Almost assuredly. But nonetheless, we'll let you know whatever that is. Appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. Again, a good bit at rebelgrove.com. Those changes to the basketball schedule, Ole Miss LSU is canceled, postponed, however you would like to think happy thoughts with that one moving forward. There is no date. Ole Miss, Mississippi State on Saturday is the next game. And then as of now, Ole Miss opens the baseball season in Arlington, Texas at Globe Life Field, 3 o'clock on Saturday against the TCU Horned Frogs. So we'll tell you anything on the site that we know between now and then, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Be safe. Have fun. Take care.